Why is this just sitting here like this?
I'm gonna put it in my uncle's garage.
When?
Your uncle is a shithole, he never goes in there.
When?
Tomorrow, before the flag, after we visited that funny little Faisal fella in Ellenwood.
And Matija Jankovic, who are both under arrest on suspicion of false imprisonment, money laundering and assisting Tommy Lee Royce in escaping lawful custody. You do not need to say anything. You may have your defence if you do not mention questions, something you later will to others. And who's going to go mad? Oh my God, are you even listening?
Yeah, good afternoon everyone. Welcome back to the channel. What you've just seen there is an episode of Happy Valley. I think it was the last episode of Series 3. And there's a bit of a story behind that, how I actually got involved in that. But I will go on and let you know as this tape goes on. Basically, yeah, Happy Valley. Well, Happy Valley, that's what we call. That's what the Upper Valley of Calderdale were called. And on the first day at Sorby Bridge Nick in September 1887, that was the welcome I got from the sergeant. Oh, good morning, young man, and welcome to the Happy Valley. Now, the only Happy Valley I'd ever heard of was the horse racing place in Hong Kong. So that was a bit of a surprise to find out that where I was working were called Happy Valley. Now I didn't really get into the programme at all until my sister Bernadette rung up one evening. She said, "Oh, have you been watching that Happy Valley?" I said, "Well, no, I haven't." I said, "I don't really watch much policey type dramas. The only one I really did watch was Heartbeat." And she said, "Yeah, and who told you about that?" And I thought, oh, well, it must be good if she's saying it's if she's enjoyed it. So I did. I gave it a whirl, and on watching it, I thought, blooming heck, they've had some really good advice of the drama makers on this. And some of the phrases that the police were using, that Sergeant Catherine, and I thought, bloody hell, that sounds very, very familiar, some of the stuff she were coming out with. And it wasn't till afterwards, after I'd watched the first one, and I was watching the credits at the end. I like to watch the credits just to see not just the main actors, but who were actually... who's been advising on these sort of things. And I was surprised to see that it were Bob and Carol Bridgestock, some work colleagues when we retired just about the same time, I think, or he might have retired just before me. And a lass called Lisa, an ex-WPC from, used to work at Halifax. And I thought, well, I've worked with her a time or two. And basically all I did, I watched the rest of the series, and I just sent her a text saying, or a Facebook message saying I was really, really impressed with Happy Valley, and I told her what my thoughts were. They've had some really good advice, and as the years went on, Lisa did get in touch from time to time. She knew I'd been working at Valley all my career. So she did call me for certain things like locations, local contacts, and that sort of thing. So I just sort of helped out now and again whenever she needed any help. But yeah, I didn't really think too much of it. And then I think she got in touch with me one Friday evening asking if I knew of anywhere that had an oak panelled room, like a boardroom or something like that. And I said, well, yeah, where I work at Dean Clough, there is an oak panelled boardroom which John Crossley's used to have when it was a carpet mill or mills. So she got in touch with the people at Dean Clough, and they organised for that room to be used as the Chief Constable's office for when the sergeant there was a scene where the sergeant had to go and meet the Chief Constable, and that was the room that they used. The following Sunday, I was just sat at home. I think we were just having us tea one Sunday at Sunday tea time, and the phone rang, and it was Lisa again. Martin, are you doing up next Friday? I said, well, no, I only work Wednesday, Thursdays. Oh, were you MOE trained? I said, well, yeah, I was, yeah. That was a bit of a strange question, but yeah, I was, yeah. Right, do you fancy doing a drugs raid next Friday? And for that split second, I was sort of back in my old job. Well, yeah, of course I can. I used to always volunteer to do these sort of things, being MOE trained, method of entry trained. I said, right, be in Halifax at 10 o'clock on Friday, and we'll go through it. What needs doing. So we met up, and there were like a big site where all the film crews were, and the basically where they were based. They were kitted out. We were all kitted out in PSU uniforms. There was myself, another chap, another two blokes who were ex-bobbies. One of them had gone to work at the fire service, and he'd only just recently done a refresher MOE. So I thought, well, that's brilliant. So we all jumped in minibuses and all drove up to a street in off Worley Road. Explained what they needed doing. We got all lined up as if we were. It was just like being back in job again. And basically, the lad who was now working for the fire service, he was the big red key, big red key holder. And we lined up and smashed the door, and I was the first one in. Officer number one. And it was just, I right enjoyed it, basically. But I didn't realise just how much work actually goes into these filming thing. We were there from 10 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, so that was 8 hours doing that bit of a scene there, which was less than a minute and a half. I didn't realise it took that much time to do these filmings scenes. So we must have smashed the door in about half a dozen times, and then we ran into the room, and I was the first one in. Then we stopped there as we went to the far end of the room, and then we did another shot running up the stairs, chasing the two lads that you see in the film. Then we stopped again, and then we did another one. It was all done in bits, and it was absolutely mesmerising. I didn't realise there was that much that went into it, like I said. And then it shows barging into the first bedroom, and then we stopped again, and then we went back out. And then he said, "Right, I'm going to really go for it." This is the lad who I was supposed to be restraining, a bit bigger than me, as you can see in the film. I said, right, Martin, I'm going to go for it. So you're going to have to really, make it look realistic. So we did. We did that 4 or 5 times, all filmed from different angles. But it was absolutely amazing. I'd say they really looked after us, supplied us with a lunch. We kept having regular breaks because it was getting quite hot during the day, so we had regular water breaks. But what I noticed was every so often, after every scene, one of the staff had come over and checked the uniforms, checked that the radios were still attached, checked that the body cams were still attached, the uniforms that we were wearing, to make sure they were all back in place again. It were absolutely spot on, every minute detail. And I think basically it's because we had some good advisors on there with Lisa, excuse me, and what even down to the detail of the radios being switched on, the body cams were on. You could see that they were working. And what I've since noticed, when you watch like programs like Coronation Street and Emmerdale, when police officers turn up, we've been ex-job, you do notice these things, and you notice that the radios aren't switched on, but there's still radio traffic playing. I thought, well, how on earth is that happening if the radios are on? And obviously it's been pre-recorded radio traffic. So there's the details like that, you do sort of notice it. Right, and then, like I said, we did that all day. And it was just a brilliant day out, and I just enjoyed every minute of it. It was absolutely knackering. Obviously, by the end of the day, you're barging through the doors, and you're going through the same scene, stopping, starting, and running up the stairs, and all the rest. And I was a bit knackered by the end of the day, but it was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. But what I did notice when I got home, when we've been first through the door, the lad with the big red key, the enforcer battering ram, it hit the door, stepped to the side, the door would swing open, but then it'd swing back. So I would go in first one in, putting my arm up and push, just to make sure the door's open. And I didn't realise till I got home. I had a bath and looked at my arm, and I thought, bloody hell, all my arm were bruised. I couldn't really. I had a sore throat for a couple of days because I've been shouting, "Stop, please! Stop! Stand still!" And I'm really into it. But we had 8 hours, 8 hours of doing that, and it was just it was just great fun. But like I say, I had a sore throat, and I didn't. But I was on sort of cloud nine, and I just couldn't stop bloody talking about it. It was absolutely spot on. So that was my little part in Happy Valley, not just working there as for all my career as a police officer, but also I just so chuffed to being sort of part of the filming. It was really enjoyable, and I felt quite proud really when I watched it, and I were getting like text messages and Facebook messages from my friends and relatives and sort of everybody that knew me. So that was my little minute and a half of fame on the telly. So like I say, if you're enjoying these little videos that I'm doing, do us the old thumbs up, subscribe, and just leave a little note saying what your thoughts are. And like I said, just hope you enjoy any of all these videos that I'm doing. I'll just see if there's anything else I missed. No, I think we've covered everything there. Like I say, I do make notes because otherwise I just start rambling on and forget half the stuff that I've written down. If you do get chance to play the part of an extra or supporting artist, as they're called now, just give it a whirl. You don't have to do any speaking parts. You know, it's an experience, and it's something you can look back on and think, I was part of that. So anyway, thanks very much for watching, and take care of yourself, and just keep smiling. See you. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.